Hi there, welcome to the Sebastian Rogers case, this time looking at an alternative format when checking for the latest news and discussions on the case. Missing person related case, whether it be foul play or not, kind of a mystery, and of course the whereabouts of Sebastian Rogers. I believe the last time we checked the case out was when it was going about online about supposed sightings. Was it in North Carolina? I can't quite remember now, at some kind of visitor centre, the car park lot. And then you had people debunking it and AI being used to say it's not the same person. I saw an article recently where, well, it was actually 3 months ago, where the father believed it was Sebastian, but not much else has come out of it since. So I guess it's been debunked. Let me know, anyone watching right now, if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future. I mean, yes, we've done it with the Dylan Rounds case, but that was on a community page. This is like a public news feed when you search it. Kind of like the same with Twitter, but, you know, Twitter is too risky. Believe me, the amount of spam and inappropriate content by females or bots behind female accounts that show up, you know, on insensitive topics, it's not good. But thankfully, Facebook is a little bit more under control, or at least I think it is. And that's why we're here today. So welcome to those that are in the live premiere. Let me know your thoughts and opinions to this case. I know some people have been saying it's a bit of a circus show because of the community those online on YouTube and TikTok. Does it compare anything to what I've been around with other cases and people? Maybe time will tell. But I just wanted an alternative way to look at the latest news and discussions, because when you do it on Google, whether it be restricted, limited by location or for other factors in the background, there's only like 1 or 2 official news articles, which isn't a bad thing. Official news articles are the way to go, but let's try and think outside of the box and see what's being talked about here. Because there are channels on YouTube which can spend hours covering the case, and sometimes you think, how can they talk for so long about so many different things? Is there that much breaking news in the case or not? Maybe, as an example here, we may get an idea. So it may not be in the correct order exactly as for these posts, but we'll just go through it bit by bit. 26th of May, regarding the website for tips, Sebastian, that has been circulating on social media. I reached out to the Summer County Sheriff's Office a couple of days ago, and they just got back to me this morning. According to the sheriff himself, this has been looked into by their office and cannot comment any further. However, seeing how the website is still active, I'm assuming the law enforcement has no problem with the website or whoever is behind it. I just pray that if anyone has information about Sebastian, right, whatever that's about. What do we have here? Some of it's related, other bits aren't. Like this one's an official news one. Sunday marked 3 months since 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers went missing from his mother's Hendersonville home. He hasn't been seen since. We got that there. Still missing. There are some comments. Will it let me? Because I just don't know if Facebook will kick me off or not. As said, this is all public. I don't know if humans get triggered out there if their comments or profiles are read out, but if people have such a problem with it, make your profile private or change your username, because this is for public viewing, right? We saw it extensively in the Dylan Rounds case, unfortunately. You know, these will be people's points of views and ideas, their responses. You can always share your thoughts in the live chat, whether you agree with any of these people, your own theories and ideas. What's this? Celine Wallace, the stepfather, must have done something to Sebastian. See, I've not been around on this case at all, so I'm not going in on it, you know, down particular routes, but it looks like certain family members or parents being blamed left, right and centre. I said, that's what's coming off from, you know, the talk in general online. And to be honest, with the Dylan Rounds case, the parents, there was a witch hunt against them as well. What is Cheryl here? They either left him with somebody or they did harm to him. What disgusting parents, you will be punished. Oh, God. I said, I don't know the full context. I don't know the full context, but some of these comments. Philip King, his mom and stepdad killed Sebastian Rogers. That's just the fact. Oh boy. Try getting a sidekick. Oh no. Sidekicks, not a good idea. Have you seen him? 93 days. Right. Will it let me click on it? I don't. Has it? I mean, what's going on with the quality? Why is it so bad? I don't think we'll bother with that. It was blurry anyway. Okay, Vanessa Stain, 5 hours ago. Lies, deceit, misinformation, and money. I watched the video Sebastian playing in the play park. Where's that video? What the hell's that all about? It must be like a memory of, Sebastian from the past. Innocent, energetic, happy, and a beautiful. Okay. Innocent teenager being used to empower, enrich, and to create confusion on the internet. People are falling into the trap of evil, going against one another, and the ringmaster of this circus is smiling from ear to ear. Oh no. And there are no new videos and photos as a teenager. Strange, is it not? I'm even starting to doubt Seth too. YouTube and TikTok creators are losing respect from the viewers. Sebastian, I'm so deeply saddened about what the outcome has become. It's not about you anymore. It is appalling. Let's find this young man. Right, so from the looks of it, the Sebastian Rogers case and the supposed circus show of creators is starting to sound a little bit familiar to the Dylan Rounds case, where at a certain point or time, whether they still be alive or not, you have a missing loved one, and they could be considered vulnerable due to the age they are. Now, granted, Sebastian Rogers being 15, Dylan Rounds being 19, but still, of a young or youngish age. And yet, when people come on in, whether they're emotionally connected or charged with the case, and arrange all merged together, there can be conflict, there can be misunderstandings, misinterpretations, breakdown in communication. With the tension and the conflict can lead to drama, insults, and unnecessary things going on. Whether it be information being collected or ideas being collected and it's being poorly worded and not everyone agrees with it, and then with disagreements can lead to conflict many different ways. And the more people working on a case, the more disastrous it will be. And I'm talking about the online community, whether it be the true crime community, which is quite toxic, or it can even cross over to simple missing person related cases. So I don't know who is who within the Sebastian Rogers case as for the community, but if any of you can add on or elaborate, feel free to do so, right? So, who is the ringmaster? Who are these YouTube and TikTok creators covering Sebastian Rogers? If I'm correct in saying there might be the odd few people covering Sebastian Rogers' case who originated from the Dylan Rounds case. And from my experience, some of them problematic individuals that did cause trouble elsewhere. See, the importance of this all, whilst of course it's important to locate Sebastian Rogers and in the meantime keep the case alive for the right reasons and to spread awareness too for the right reasons, it's also important to use a bit of psychology, using, history and the concept of human behaviour when it comes to those within the community. Because whether they act like angels now or all of a sudden, maybe they didn't in the past, and people I came across, I saw a different side to them. And they just so happened to move on to other cases with the same attitude and mentality as they had elsewhere. What good does that do? It doesn't. Causing one headache from one case to another. Yeah. And with these circus shows, wherever they may be with whatever case, it does create a mockery and a bit of an insult to the actual missing person, the victim, and even the victim's families, parents, friends, etc. Didn't do much good. What are the comments though? Did anyone elaborate them? M2, it's a shame what this boy's disappearance has become. Carbon copy of the Wells case. Oh, I've roughly heard that. The Wells case, some people covered that extensively. Has that become a bit of a mess? I want him found. I want Rogers alive. I want the circus surrounding him to stop. I do believe Seth, though, out of all of them, I also don't give a rat's beep what someone did 20 years ago or 10 years ago. Unless there is a pattern, then I would consider it. I don't like every single sentence and word being hung on or twisted to fit someone's narrative. I believe most, not all, but most want him found and are truly doing everything they can to find him. But when cases like this start to get overexposed, if you will, it tends to make people stop listening. Right. So the bit about bringing up people's past 20 years ago or whatever, is this something to do with parents, families, or whoever within the case who may have a dark past or did something bad in the past and they're trying to dirty the waters of their name in the case now and say that they link to the disappearance of Sebastian? Is that what it's getting at? If so, I would understand it can be messy because exactly within the Dylan Rounds case, you had people dragging up the past of Dylan Round's mother, Candice Cooley, about supposedly owing money here and there and people being screwed in the past. And it's like, whether that's true or false, what's that got to do with Dylan Rounds? It didn't. And then when you had the likes of a private investigator called Jim Terry that was, spreading mass breaking news about Dylan being pulled over by the police just because cans were thrown out. And that was in, 2021? And it's like, does it really matter? Okay, what does it do? It shows that Dylan isn't perfect, right? Did that lead to Dylan's death or him being deserving of death? No correlation at all. Why do people make a big deal about it, right? And I do agree, when it comes to consistency, when it comes to a pattern, right? I mean, just cases in general, and it tends to be more aimed with, the true crime related ones. I heard a saying somewhere in the past that when a person is killed, it could well be by someone that person once knew, a friend, a family member, someone close also. Not always, but that's like how it was being portrayed as. And, even missing person cases before it's got to the point of a death situation. Not saying that it applies here, but just in other cases, people then start pointing the fingers to, well, could it be the parents to blame? Could it be the friend of that person to blame? Could it be the brother? Could it be this or that? Oh, let's look at their past. Well, they've got a violent history in the past. And it just so happens that this victim's ended up in the same way. Could there be a link there? Is it strong enough to establish? It all depends, right? Patterns and repeat offending, you could argue and put a case across and say, well, if they're constantly reoffending, they haven't learned their lesson. And it just happens that this person has been impacted since, who's the daughter or the son or a sister or a brother. Maybe this person's responsible. I am talking very vague, and I'm not applying what I've just said there to the Sebastian Rogers case. I'm talking in general. But if there's any link at all within this case as for a certain agenda being pushed, there we go. We got a person called Bullhorn Betty. Heard that name before in the past, a true crime channel. I heard it brought up in the Dylan Rounds case. I don't know if they did cover the Dylan Rounds case, but I know for certain I was the most consistent one covering that case, as you can tell by the videos in the playlist, over 5 or near to 500 or so. But nevertheless, the only way I heard about Bullhorn Betty's name was because of some people in my live chat previously in the past where people were bringing her name into it, saying, oh, the person's getting the name dragged through the mud by others, Jim Terry and some others. And I'm thinking, what is going on? It's interesting how a range of these different people seem to know one another over time. Makes you think, what's this? Seth is doing everything he can to find Sebastian, and I don't think he cares how and who will help reach that goal. That's his focus, and I stand by Seth every step of the way. I don't care about how or things he's meant to have been accused of 20 years ago. I just want him to be reunited with his son because he's the only one who's out there fighting to find his son. I don't think it matters whether a parent is innocent or guilty. I've seen innocent parents dragged across YouTube and Facebook for no reason, just because people are bullies. This is MO and nothing will change that, and I don't want anyone commenting saying, yeah, but he's doing that. I'm not interested in any negativity. He's an innocent man who is deeply grieving, and in my opinion, he's hurt him. I think the factor that needs to be taken into consideration is that when someone is grieving or maybe on pause, halting that, with the Dylan Rounds case, the mother Candice Cooley holding it together, not quite grieving, almost like delaying that just so she could, be functional and try and search for Dylan and get answers, and then eventually grieve or do what needs to be done. And because people saw that in a different pattern, a different order to how one normally reacts, people thought that was suspicious and then started calling her out and labelling her, which was maybe unnecessary and not needed, but that's what people did. I think if you're going to analyse human behaviour, body language, things like that, it's got to be done somewhat accurately and balanced. Do we have any other details or talk possibilities? I often think, how could this be? With all the technology we have today and all the investigative skills, yet not one piece of evidence has surfaced that leads in any direction. All we know is that according to all reports, he was at his home on the night of February 25th, and by morning he was gone. Where did he go? Was he alone? Did someone else take him away from his home? So many questions and so few answers. So, okay, I'm just standing up because I'm getting a bit of neck ache, in case you're wondering. I'm actually holding the phone this time around. I might transition to the tripod later, if possible. But yeah, so you got ground zero, the starting point to how it and where it all unfolded. But then the mystery after that could be anywhere, in any direction. Well, the first thing you would resort to would be surveillance cameras in the area, ring a doorbell camera or CCTV cameras. And supposedly that has already been done and debunked. And because it being nighttime, the quality was very hard to see anything, really. But my question is, okay, when people were supposedly pushing a certain concept with CCTV cameras pointing at the front or the porch, back door, whatever you want to call it, of the house of Sebastian Rogers, how people were putting points across saying, oh, look, you can see moving objects in the background, so that must be 2 to 3 people supposedly kidnapping Sebastian and putting him over his back. And others were just saying, no, it's just trees and vegetation. It's nothing that deep. My question at the end of the day is, how come that surveillance footage was so dark? Why was there no night vision? Where's the night vision? Or where's the thermal imagery? Whichever one you call it, where it's like black and white. How come none of that was present? What's the point having surveillance cameras if they don't work in the dark? What's the point? I mean, even ring a doorbell cameras manage nighttime footage. Yeah, it's black and white, but it's a lot clearer. So let me know your thoughts there. Any other points? Like, would I give my theory, my ideas right now? See, this is the thing. When it comes to the starting point, which would be the home, the house, I believe it was Michelle After Dark that has previously done a few videos about the location of where he was last seen and where he supposedly went missing, his own house. But Michelle After Dark either got a warning or some kind of complaint, or the video was reported. There was some kind of limitation or restrictions on her video because of showing the location on maps. Now, if the location is of public knowledge, it shouldn't be a problem. But then at the same time, if you got the victim's family or the mother who's still living there right now, I guess it could get a bit awkward, especially if people now know the location and then headed on down to demand answers or questions. Just like how we saw some people passionately blaming family members being responsible for the supposed death of Sebastian Rogers despite no evidence or proof. If you get some hardline people like that and then they know the location and then head on down there banging on the door, it's probably not the best of things, right? I said, I'm kind of new to this case, but with common sense, you can understand how problems can emerge from things. But what was the true explanation? Why would you be punished for using maps to look at the area of where Sebastian was last seen? Because what else could you do? Blur the house out? To be honest, that's what probably should be done, right? In fairness, if you was able to hide the address, if you was able to blur out the actual building, I know it might go against the case if you're trying to work it out yourself, but to get rid of any issues or conflict out there, right? Because, mate, I've not done it, and I probably won't because it seems too risky. But where Sebastian was last seen, the night of February 25th, right, at his home, I mean, I'd be doing like a map analysis of all the angles. What's nearby? Is there any exit points? Could you be out of sight? Any blind spots? Things like that, and much more. But if you get punished just for making a video about that type of stuff, it's just not worth it. And I think some people have already been punished for that. It's unfortunate. I mean, if it was in the middle of nowhere, if it was in a field or in a car park and that was where the person was last seen, well, that's just like public land or, public space you can just zoom about. You could do a video of the actual area, but just not title it. I don't know. I don't know who watches or who the surveillance, the ones behind the scenes in the case or on the outside. Who knows what the level of resistance is like. But it would be unfortunate because a map analysis, like with any case or any mystery, is very crucial, even if it's just for the casual audience, the people on the outside looking in. It can really tell a story, whether that be satellite imagery or street view. It can really help. There's Sebastian Rogers there. Summer County community not forgetting about Sebastian Rogers 3 months after disappearance. I think it's pretty self-explanatory that they wouldn't forget, especially if it's unsolved. God, I'm so sick of seeing the name Harrison Butker. Never heard that name before. Each family should set their rules, but I can 100% tell you, as someone who covered a whole lot of court, women have things in your name, or both names at least. If something happens to him or if he commits a crime and his name is on everything, you will have problems. Whatever that's about. Clues, what do you think? What's going on here? As I said, this is the first time I'm doing something like this, just to come across alternative news coverage and discussions. This might not be news and it might just be discussions, okay, and what people have had to say in recent time. But, where else do you look? Reddit is a cesspit. TikTok, it's just videos and degenerates on TikTok. I can't stand that place. Twitter, too inappropriate with all the spam and adverts. I've heard people in my chat say Facebook is a very bad place. Now, I don't engage on it at all. If it's to do with a case or, case community and there's updates, I'll look there and that is all. I won't really engage any further past that point. So I don't know how troublesome Facebook can be. I did use it way back in the past, just when I was at school. No issues at all. It was fine, but who knows, different as time goes on. Yeah, I don't know what any of that is, regardless. Clues, what do you think? Wait a minute. Could this be it? Sebastian Rogers update today. What's that photo of? Looking underneath a house or so? A red vehicle? A shed or a trailer? Now that's on YouTube. I won't click on that because it will redirect me over and I'll probably get a copyright claim or something. Is this a Michelle After Dark video with that thumbnail and art style maybe? Oh my god. It's definitely worth sending. Let them place it. They will track the IP address and go from there. Seth said it wasn't him. Wasn't him. What, a photo of someone caught on camera? No, if you search the name Sebastian Rogers on Facebook, there's literally hundreds of people with that name. But wait, there's more. What does this say? It's a bit small. The picture to the right was where Sebastian was hiding to record a YouTube video in January. So when he was last seen, well, when he was okay. Now look where Seth is in his picture. Looks similar? Well, not really. The one on the left has holes in the ironwork. It looks like an iron girder or a metal beam going across. It's got holes in. The photo on the right, it doesn't have any holes. It's the same colour, but it's at a different angle and it hasn't got holes. And as well, the guy on the left, who's supposedly called Seth, in the background, there's trees, thick vegetation, dense. On the right, there isn't any. So, I don't believe it is the same. Maybe these people are grasping at straws, but I don't really like using that line, okay? Because I've known people to use it towards me as well with other stuff in the past. When you start comparing side by side, it's a good thing to do. There's no harm in doing it. It does say, look similar. Does it look similar? It's the angling, that's the problem. If things, you can take a photo of the same thing, but from a different angle, and it can look completely different. And if some people want to be awkward, some people out there could be, it could be obvious, yeah, it's the same thing, but people can be awkward and say, you know what, no, I'm going to be awkward, I'm not going to say it's the same. But honestly, it does look different, that, right? Because the one on the left has got holes in, the one on the right doesn't. Even if this was the same spot, why would it be significant then? If it was the same spot, why would it be significant? Does anyone know? But yeah, the picture to the right was where Sebastian was hiding to record a YouTube video in January. So you're saying Sebastian Rogers has a YouTube channel? I mean, I don't know. If that was true, that's kind of, well, in a way, when you do have a YouTuber or a person that uploads videos to YouTube, even if it's old videos and it just so happens to be in the area or a location where the person went missing months or years later, well, there can be significance behind it. You see it from the point of view of the victim long before anything bad happened to them. But I don't know, you just get it from a different perspective. You can envision it differently than if you used to look at a stranger recording that spot. I mean, it applies to the Kenny Beach case, missing person, hiker, back in 2014, recording themselves out in the desert area, the same spot where they went a month later and disappeared, never seen again, and documented their hike, their travels out there. You kind of retrace the steps. And, when footage is recorded in the past and it just happens to be in the spot where the person has been impacted since or gone missing since, if that really was the case, you can retrace the steps to locate that spot if it is of significance. Not saying it always is, but it can be. So I'm assuming what they're trying to get at is on the left-hand side, that photo there is supposedly a video from Sebastian Rogers on YouTube, supposedly. One, it's only just been found now. And then on the right is street view imagery of aerial footage looking down at that spot. Right, I guess that's the case. I mean, if that's true, I've done quite well summarising all this, considering I've not even watched the video yet. Anyway. And it's about tracking the location, getting the IP. So he's suggesting that this spot where Sebastian was filming in the past isn't at the home and it's further away or nearby. He's saying that with Seth being underneath that building or structure, that there's a link and that could reveal where Sebastian is right now. Are people going to jump to a conclusion and say, well, that must be where he's buried? What? I said, this is all discussions only. Bit there where it says Seth said it wasn't him, and then the other comment saying that there's multiple accounts online. So is that a counterpoint to supposedly a YouTube channel? I'll have to look myself, okay? I'll do that. There we go, that's the old one, remember? News. Sebastian Roger's search. Dad pretty sure the photo shows the teen in North Carolina. Sebastian's dad, Seth Rogers, says that he is pretty sure the newly revealed photograph portrays his son. The Tennessee teen was reported missing February 26 from the Sutter County home of his mom, Katie Proudfoot, and stepdad, Chris Proudfoot. So far, there has not been evidence of foul play connected to Roger's disappearance, though authorities are not ruling anything out at this point. Yeah, that photo on the left there, if we can check it out now. It's a bit too zoomed in. North Carolina, some Discovery Center car park plot. Don't know who that is on the left. There's Sebastian, well, not there's Sebastian Rogers, but there's a person that supposedly looked like Sebastian Rogers. And what was it now? The AI analyzer, was it something like 92% certain it was AI generated? But, you know, to be honest, it looks fairly natural to me. Oh, it won't let me scroll down. Dodgy Facebook. His foot placement, well, he's coming down from some rock, so of course it's going to be at a slight angle. What was prominent? Well, the eyebrows, kind of thick and dark in colour, matching Sebastian Rogers. The hairstyle, haircut as well too, slightly darker colour, but things can change, and temperature and weather to what you're exposed to. Wearing the glasses, of course. You have like a bit of a point rounded chin, and the nose structure as well, matching Sebastian Rogers. And they're saying that Seth, Sebastian's dad, says he's pretty sure that was Rogers. Well, interesting. But we've not really seen any updates since. Weeks ago, really. It says there, though, I now have official confirmation the photograph taken of the teen at the visitor centre is not Sebastian Rogers. The boy in the photograph very much resembled Sebastian, but it was not him. Right, well, I guess that sums that up once again. What's this? The mother in the picture in the pink is asking people to take this down because her son and her are in the photo, it's not him. Mistaken identity, I guess, and then that can have a knock-on effect to other strangers out there. But you can get lookalikes out there. Of course, if it just so happens to be in a situation where a person is missing and you come across a lookalike, you're probably more likely to think it's really them than just a lookalike, just because that desperation and ounce of hope when someone's missing. Right, what's that got to do with Sebastian Rogers? The father of missing is planning more searches. What's this? Newly released body camera footage shows a California police officer locked in the backseat of a squad car with an arrestee. Prostitution, what the hell's that got to do, though, with what we're looking at here? The father of missing Tennessee, Sebastian Rogers, is planning more searches for his son and said he won't allow his disappearance to become a cold case. Of course, parents determined. Sebastian Rogers is calling on FBI to join the search. Yeah, heard about that. Why haven't the FBI got involved sooner? Did the FBI only get involved when it comes to become like a criminal investigation, homicide-related case, true crime-related? When it came to the Dylan Rounds case, the FBI did assist with the family there, but I can't remember at what point the FBI came in. It was fairly early on, but take in mind, evidence was found early on to suggest foul play. The Sebastian Rogers case, supposedly, really no evidence. So what can the FBI do? But, who knows? What's that? See, 46 minutes ago, completely irrelevant. I don't know why it's gone on to that there. My best friend husband was cheating on her. What? There's some weird random stuff coming on here. yesterday. Sebastian Rogers, Summer County teen, right? Authorities have had no luck finding evidence related to his disappearance. Another case that is very similar to Sebastian Rogers. Okay. Coverage just being sparse. There is a reason for that. This is by Burton. I simply do not want to be part of the dog and pony show it has become. I would be embarrassed to be some of those people that allow the accusations to fly freely. This is absolutely no proof that any person is involved in his disappearance other than himself. That could change at any minute. I refuse to take part in the circus this has become. If and when we get a real update, then I'll be back. Until then, I'll just keep asking you to share his photo and keep his name out there. Right, so it seems like some people are dropping off from the case or taking a step back because of how things are going. Kind of understand that, to be honest. People did that in the Dylan Rounds case. People had enough of the ongoing circus show performance. But you'll always get the odd genuine channel out there trying to provide the latest updates, or at least give their reactions and responses to what's being talked about elsewhere, providing it's done appropriately and the correct wording and language is used. That's most important with really any case out there. What do we have here? Thank you for showing this. I don't feel good about all the others. I'll wait for you. This definitely has become a circus. Some of these groups, instead of focusing on Sebastian, all their attention is going to the parents. They're even making videos of the parents singing these crazy, stupid songs. I'm all about finding Sebastian. I even read a post yesterday that Chris is the biological dad. Eyes rolled. I even read a post of people finding out their background history, including the parents' family members. This is wild. Let's just focus on Sebastian. See, people keep talking about a circus show and groups out there, but who are these groups? Don't people need to be named and shamed? And if not that, if that's a step too far and it does no good lowering one's standards to the other people's, why not just at least bring up the names of these people and the troublesome, the issues? Like when it came to the Dylan Brown's case, it was pivotal. It was necessary to highlight who is who, what is what, and what they're all about, right? Individual named creators, people within the community, audience members. I did that to track human behavior and where people were at, what side they were on, and how their minds were, because history can repeat itself. And we're going round and round and round, an endless cycle certain humans trapped in. It gets a little bit messy, right? And, if the troublesome people can dig up the past of others, maybe those within the case and innocent ones, and, personal details or past details, sensitive things brought up, resurfaced, dirty laundry brought to the public's attention, then why should there be I can't say the word, anonymity when it comes to these creators or these groups of people causing havoc in cases? Why should their identities or names be kept quiet and just referred to as them or that group? Why not use a reference? Why not use a code word so more people can relate and understand who the real problems are out there? Just for efficiency, that's all. No more questions. Keep search wherever. If I had to deal with the adults in his life, I would have disappeared too, just saying. What? Do you personally know them? Fair question from your comment. No, thankfully, I don't. No, so you don't have enough about them to make that comment. Never stopped anyone before, but whatever. Watching her body language and what she says, it's clear. Are you a body language expert? Pretty experienced. Thank you for asking. It's training schooling for mental health workers and law enforcement. You actually don't have to be an expert per se. It's called kinesics. What? Even if the experts are correct, body language in itself is not enough to prove guilt. I still believe in innocent until proven guilty, don't you? See, this is the thing. When it comes to body language experts and the typical experts and the wannabe experts, you can get someone who is nervous, who looks a bit shifty, and they could be deemed as guilty or responsible for something or knowing something. And they're just genuinely, uncomfortable. they might have issues themselves, or they might not react well to certain environments, and it just makes them look more suspicious. So there are some people out there in this world that are in a bit of a lose-lose situation. You can have a genuine innocent person, but maybe if they're put in front of cameras or put in front of authority or put in front of an audience, whatever it may be, pressure might get to them. They might panic, might get nervous. It's just how they feel. But that's just in general. All the focus on C&K taking attention away from finding him, which is what they want. What? Yeah, we see what you did there. Eyes rolled. This is a weird case for sure. I mean, why would a mom of a missing kid leave her house and go stay at a campground in another state 3 hours away, not even being part of searches, not attend the vigils, and haven't gotten in front of camera and begged or pleaded for her son to come back home? That's why people think they're guilty. I just hope and pray whatever happened to this young man, he will be found safe and be found soon. 60 plus days is way too long. Why would stay? Idiots watching your every move, calling you names, threats made. I mean, if there's already heat thrown on you, you're probably going to lay low. So here's the thing. When it came to the Dylan Rounds case, just because the parents didn't do some kind of press conference or press release, whether they had the opportunity to do it or not, the parents were accused for, or at least the mother was being accused for not caring or doing enough because they weren't doing a press conference or a press release, but at times didn't really have the opportunity, and the police weren't really willing to assist either in that area. When it came to the plea deal, 2023, when things were underway. Now, we didn't know the full context about then, so it was a bit of a grey area there. 2024, we got true idea that it was in the works from 2023 onwards, but the actual plea deal details regarding that situation of that specific case, the killer, the murderer, James Brenner from Lewis, Utah, being responsible for the death of Dylan Rounds, revealing the location where Brenner disposed of Dylan, buried him in the ground. The give and take, the deal behind the plea, it just was too one-sided, and it would have taken important charges off Brenner, and there would be no justice for Dylan. So that's why there was delays along the way. But when the community interpreted it, they interpreted the silence or the lack of action as being suspicious and in on it. But it wasn't the case. They were innocent at the end of the day. And where's all those clowns at now, the ones that were pushing that agenda? They've all dispersed. So we're seeing a repeat cycle here with the Sebastian Rogers case. See, this is the thing, and it is kind of interesting. It's not a good thing, but it is interesting, is that when you do cover a certain amount of cases, as for me, it's just one or two. It shows how intense it can be. But when you see certain patterns of behaviour, the claims, the cycle of blame here, then blame there, then jump on the bandwagon to this and that, and maybe there's not enough evidence to support it either, with misinterpretations along the way because they don't know the full context of the situation, so they try and summarise it in general. It just turns into a bit of a mess. And then in the end, the ones that were blamed heavily end up being innocent, and people forget like goldfish and move on. And then same thing happens again in a completely different case. Humans, they don't learn. Right. What else do we have? Do we have any other stuff? Nick Beres. I remember Nick Beres. Let's just see what's mentioned here, because he's the one that covered the bit about that sighting. 3 months, still nothing, as rumours continue to run rampant. I appreciate the fact that so many of you continue to show interest in the case and your message me with questions. 15-year-old being missing nearly 3 months from Hendersonville, Tennessee, home. Vanished and not a trace found despite massive search efforts. Authorities say there is no evidence of foul play, though they have not ruled it out. In the absence of any new developments, armchair detectives on social media and podcasts to continue to create their own fiction. Let's just check it out. Where are we at now? In the absence, continue to create their own fiction. Alleged sightings, new security video, items of Sebastian's clothing found, new evidence the teen was on social media, all false. Right, so when they're talking about Sebastian being on social media, does that link to that thumbnail, what we saw earlier on in this video, where it was saying about, oh, you see that photo underneath that building or structure, that's Sebastian Rogers when he was recording a YouTube video in the past. Is this what Beres is talking about here as being misinformation by armchair detectives, finding material and turning it into something when it's not? Well, it wouldn't surprise me that at all, because I've seen it extensively in the past. There's a lot of BS. I think at the end of the day, whilst a lot of people may claim to care about a case or a missing person, they make themselves the centre of all attention by acting as if they're the expert or finding groundbreaking evidence which isn't tied to the case, but they try and make it tied to the case, and then they get all praise or attention. It's quite pathetic, to be honest. I'm not saying it specifically is with anyone, because I'm still new to the case, but all I need to see is a bit of topics and themes, and I instantly get an idea or a concept of what could be happening, because I've just seen it in the past extensively, and it does no good within the cases, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you got the ones on the inside, the parents, the family, or the friends, trying to work things out, and then the authorities too, and providing they can cooperate together, that's good. But in a situation like this, with really no evidence found, it does make everything a lot more difficult. How can people online and in random areas further away come across all this evidence when those on the inside, in the case, in the area, physically boots on ground, end up not finding anything? How can people online find more than those on boots on ground? I mean, sometimes, yeah, it is possible, but the real experts, if they say they haven't found anything yet, then how can the amateurs come across more? I'm not putting anyone down, okay? And make sure humans don't take this out of context or misinterpret it, right? But it's like when I've covered cases in the past, I know what I can and can't do and what I am capable of. I can quite easily keep a case alive for the right reason, and I can look at it from different perspectives and ideas and theories by making it very clear that it's just an idea and that is all. And it just so happens that tied within the case, if evidence does collect along the way or is found, it might just so correlate and reinforce my original point which I proposed early on, and it strengthens it. And with the usage of maps as well, whilst telling the story or the events unfolding, unravelling, can help. But interesting. Let's just continue reading. Maybe this can be the last one what we check out for today, possibly, just because of time issues. So, as for alleged sightings, false information. As for new security footage of the area, I guess, false information. As for items and clothing found as Sebastian Rogers, false information. As for new evidence that the teen was on social media, false information. What a mess. What a mess. See, this is what I can envision. The Sebastian Rogers case, like with the Wells case, how they were making the comparisons there, I can actually envision it. There are a group, a sector of creators out there who may be doing it intentionally or on the borderline. They know what they're doing, but they're being very clever in how they word things and use question marks. I'm just suggesting, okay? The rubbing their hands and fingers thinking, oh, what can I do today? And followed by the next day, could spend hours with talking about a load of nonsense, but still trying to maintain interest in highlighting the possibility that it could be true. If you can use common sense and genuine thoughts to actually put across a valid argument to say that this, which may not be anything, but it could be something at the time, okay, level of genuinity there. But if you're desperately scuttling around to try and find something on the case and there's nothing there, but you're adding to it, that's not a good look. It can get complex, but in my mind, maybe I've not expressed it clear enough, but in my mind, I know exactly what can happen, and I can even envision people's faces behind the screen when they're doing the videos on a particular case, which could be a bit of a circus show. Let's just get the real talk here. I checked again today, and investigators say there is nothing new to report. I've been in direct contact with the lead investigator with the Summer County Sheriff's Office, who says the latest stuff is all garbage. So all the stuff people are talking about online, on YouTube, Are we saying that all YouTubers, that all creators on YouTube and TikTok that cover Sebastian Roger's case is corrupt? Is that what it's suggesting? That all the latest talk by those people is utter garbage? Damn, that's not looking good. Everyone is frustrated to the point of some calling for the FBI to take over the investigation. It probably won't do any harm, that. Those calling for that do not know how the system works. First of all, the Summer County Sheriff and TBI have both already involved the FBI. Second, the FBI does not typically take over state cases because state and local law enforcement agencies are not subordinate to federal law enforcement agencies. However, the FBI will become involved in a local investigation if the offence falls under federal jurisdiction or the crime is committed on federal property. Neither is the case here. And there's no evidence as well to suggest foul play, which then could lead to a criminal investigation, which could lead to more action taken. Local law enforcement or the DA can also request the FBI to take over, but that has not happened. General Whitley tells me it will not happen. I've seen firsthand the work on this case by local authorities, and they're covering all bases. Some complain local investigators don't immediately respond to calls of possible evidence found by the public. They've received hundreds of tips, and many are easily dismissed simply because there is no credible connection, just more social media-driven rumours, and it's not as though the FBI taking over will suddenly produce a bunch of new leads. Hopefully there will be a credible break in the case soon. Until then, please be very sceptical of stunning new developments unless they come from a credible source. Official. I just wish there was a bit of direction as to highlight who is the problem. It's okay saying creators, YouTubers or TikTokers, but who are these named individual? Is it everyone? Is it most? Or is it a couple of creators? We need to be specific. What's going on here? I think I'll pretty much leave it here right now. It says, I hate to say this, but if there is a reward that leads to finding him, that motivates people also to try getting the TikTok influencers to talk about the situation. Those people seem to be everywhere. Some are good people who could help spread the word about him. I honestly wish more were looking for all the missing kids. Is there a reward money for the Sebastian Rogers case? Can't remember. If there was, you could understand why people would be so motivated. But, when it came to the Dylan Rounds case, towards the midway through, a total of $200,000 the reward money was for any information leading to the recovery of Dylan's body and Brenner being sent down and justice for Dylan in the case. You get $200,000. Did anyone come forwards besides the odd one here and there, which was BS? No one did. So money isn't always the main motivator, but it does come down to the locations and where, with the Dylan Rounds case, very remote. The Sebastian Rogers case within a neighbourhood of other people living nearby and further afar who could relate more to the case due to the location. High population, higher chances of people either knowing more or supposedly knowing more, and if they are motivated by any reward money, it can become unnatural. Right. I think we'll leave it there. Sparse, we saw that before, so it seems a bit repetitive. We'll leave it there for now. Let me know your thoughts. The theme of today, what we've seen, finger pointing, the blame at either the father or the other guy or the mother being responsible for the disappearance or the death, even though there's no evidence or proof of that. That supposedly the past of certain family members have been brought up, raked up, and that's supposedly being put across to say that, well, this person's done bad in the past, they've probably done it again, and taken it out on Sebastian Rogers. That's the claims being made. That's not coming from me, but that's what's been interpreted from today in the themes and discussions by people on Facebook. Might not be the best place, but I just looked at it as an alternative. Not to believe in it, but just to read it. That's all. And give you my thoughts and analysis of the situation, because I have covered previous cases which have had messy situations from creators and those online. So I know what to look for when it comes to patterns and trends. That's why I just thought I'd give my thoughts here. And the only other thing that stood out was that photo, that does it look similar to you, the one on the left, the one on the right? Just let me know what you think about that. If you want to provide context, feel free to do so. You want to leave your comments down below? That's welcome. You want to catch up on my recent videos? Well, top right corner of the screen where the I symbol is, you click on that, you'll be able to find it from there. So with all that being said and done, thanks for watching. See you next time. Goodbye. Good night for now.